Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm your host, Melissa Banks. I'm excited you decided to join us today. Today, we have another amazing woman to share her journey with us and how she's been able to keep going despite the circumstances. Our guest today is Allie Dalsimer. Allie is an award-winning author, life coach, and a certified facilitator. We're excited to have you on the show today, Allie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Melissa. I am very excited to be here as well. Spend this time with you.
Well, thank you so much. I want to start with your book.
Okay.
It's okay not to be fabulous every day. When I saw the title, it's like all of a sudden I had permission to have a bad day. And it's okay to have a bad day. I love the title. But this book, congratulations, it has had so much success, so much praise, and multiple awards. So congratulations on all the success of the book.
Thank you.
Talk
Thank you.
about
It's done well. Yeah.
it has. I'm excited about it. Talk to us about what inspired you to write it and what the key message you hope readers will walk away with.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, your intro just there spoke to it, right? It is okay not to be fabulous every day. We have so much pressure on us, especially women, but all people, young people, everybody has so much pressure that they have to look good, be good, know the answer. Everything has to be rah rah, all positivity. We're bombarded in social media with all these fabulous moments from people's lives, and just like taking these Instagram pics, and then nobody sees when you turn the camera off and it's like, oh, okay, fine. Nobody sees that letdown, and we all have this pressure on us to be fabulous. And the reality is that, one, it's not realistic, it's not sustainable, and two, not only is it not necessary, but it's just so vitally important that we take a step back, that we find time to re-energize and recreate. I talk a little bit about the importance of recreation, and the root word of that is to recreate, because you need that time to just fill your batteries and find your inner peace and joy, whatever those things are for you. For some people, it's being, if you're very extroverted, it's being with other people, it's being out, it's being social, it's hanging with friends. And if you're a little more introverted like I am, it's putting on an audiobook and going for a walk and just tuning out the world for a couple hours. And whatever it is, it really is important to recognize that you don't have to be all that all the time, you know so, and getting back to which is really, it is also not just the answer to that, but it's also the genesis of how I came to write the book. Right, it started as life advice for my kids, and then things happened, a lot of personal um, issues, traumas, events, and I go into that a little bit. But really what happened was I found myself suddenly living alone for the first time since the early 80s. I hadn't lived alone since the early 80s. And, my husband had passed, my mother was gone. She and I spoke every day, and she lived with me for the last few months of her life. And both my kids had gone off to school, and I was alone. And, it's great for the first few days because you're like, no dishes, no laundry. And then all of a sudden it was like, do I even need to get out of bed today? Like, why? Why do I need to get out of bed? You know? And it really began from that point, because getting out of bed is your first accomplishment for the day. So I got out of bed and I thought, you know what? I have done something today. And I ended up writing this book as a form of self-therapy. And I ended up sharing it with my kids, who then shared it with their friends. And I started getting all this feedback. You've got to put this out. You've got to put this out. Really, people want to see it. And I thought, okay. I sent it to the ladies in my book club and a few friends. And I just got very positive feedback from most of the people. And so I did. I published it. I put it out there. And it was scary because I do share very personal things in this book. But it was also really fulfilling. And in the process of receiving just really positive feedback, and awards are great. I mean, I love to say, I am an award-winning author. Like, who gets tired of saying that, right? I'm just going to love that forever. But really the most meaningful feedback has come from people who have emailed me, and you can email me direct from my website, and just shared their personal stories and their personal traumas, and how my book has helped them, even if in a small way. And that has been so incredibly powerful and meaningful.
Can imagine. A couple of things you said just takes me back at the beginning when you talked about having that moment. I talk about oftentimes I like to have peppermint in my coffee. I know that sounds weird, but I love stirring the peppermint into the coffee and just smelling the coffee and literally sitting down, not working, not doing anything, but just enjoying that cup of coffee.
Mhm.
Something that simple to just say it's okay to take this moment for you. So that was huge for me. And another thing you said is, you know what? You were in a place where you had never been before. It was scary. It was a scary time. And you could have made the choice to just lay in it and not move in fear, but you made the choice to move in fear, and you wrote this amazing book, and that's what came out of it. That's a great thing to share with all of us. So
Yeah,
you
thanks.
talk about your storytelling, Ellie, and you weave the joy and the pain in there just so beautifully. Talk to us about how you navigate the balance between these emotions in your writing process when you were writing the book.
Well, no matter how thinly you slice the bread, it always has two sides. There's a yin for every yang, and there can be no joy without sorrow or grief. And I really felt that by sharing my process, and if you take a step back and look at the book and how it's organized, it's the arc is a journey from grief through acceptance, through self-love, and finally to really wanting and trying to pursue your personal dreams and become the person you were meant to be. I talk about how the book seeks to ignite your motivation and foster your positivity so you can maximize your personal potential, right? That's just a little catchphrase to try and capture that journey. But the reality is, and you've talked a little bit about this in some of your other shows about how, you know, each of us needs to live our dream life, right? This is so important. You want to create the life and live the life that you are meant to live and that you deserve to live. And I think so many of us live the life that we're expected to live. And so we are like, yes, I have always wanted to be a doctor because my mother says I should be a doctor, or my teacher says I should be a doctor, or whatever. And the reality is, you want to be an artist, or you want to fly jet planes, or whatever it is you really want to do. But we all have this pressure, and I talk about this in the book. It starts when we're little. Nobody who's 3 years old says, I want to be an accountant when I grow up. But maybe they love math, maybe they love numbers, but nobody says that at that age. They don't, nobody knows what you want to do. You want to be something that's more of a concept. I talk about you want to be a fireman or whatever, because that's a brave and proud thing. Or you want to, raise a big family because you like the loving and the nurturing environment, or whatever it is. When we're little, the things we say we want to be have more to do with the feelings that those words, those
Mm.
professions engender. And then when we get older, we're told, well, we can't be an astronaut. You can't be an astronaut. That's not realistic. You have to do X, Y, Z. And I just think that's such a shame, because if you really want to be an astronaut, well, somebody's got to be an astronaut. I went to college with a guy who became an astronaut. You can do it, and you should be able to do it. And you shouldn't feel like, well, my mom really wants me to be a doctor, so I'm going to be a doctor or a dentist or an accountant or whatever it is, because that's their dream, not yours.
Wow, that was so powerful. And so much of what you say takes me back to my own journey. I can remember, and I shared this in an interview recently with someone, and I said, I used to think, oh, I want to just work in an office. I thought that was just so glamorous to work in an office. It never crossed my mind. I'm old school. but it never crossed my mind that I could be a business owner or I could be a media personality. Those things never crossed my mind at that age. So I could really resonate with what you just said. Let's talk about, Allie, this impressive. When I was reading your bio and just preparing for the day, you have had a really impressive 30-year career in environmental work. That is amazing. How would you say that work prepared you for where you are now in your life and your career?
That is a question no one has ever asked me. Wow. I think it prepared me for writing, which is really what I'm trying to pursue now, because I had to do so much of it. I did an amazing amount of writing from my early days where I wrote and edited a newsletter that we put out for um, this international initiative to help stem the decline of migratory birds. It's called Partners in Flight, and it's just become a huge thing. But when it started, it was just, you know, a dozen of us trying to get something going. And so I did this newsletter, and I did everything, right? Like I wrote a lot of the articles. I solicited other people for articles. I edited their articles. I designed it using a
Wow.
software program, PageMaker, which I don't even think exists anymore. I sent it off to this guy, Rob Howard, who was just like small press guy. And so he would print them all off and I'd get them and I got them all flat because it was cheaper. And so I'd fold them all and I'd spend my Saturdays like, you know, sticking the address labels on and then putting the stamps on and then sorting them by zip code so I could go and stand in line at the post office so I could get the cheap postal rate, you know. And you know, moving on, going on from doing a lot of writing, articles, a couple book chapters, ended up in my final position where I was managing this program, you know, actually developing policy and writing guidance and unified federal criteria and doing a lot of that kind of writing. And then after my job was eliminated, I ended up going into writing and editing in my own business. Unfortunately, it was right before the pandemic, but I did do a couple of pieces for my own business. And I think the way it prepared me is just writing for so many different types of topics in so many formats. I've done scientific writing, I've done, you know, just fun newsletter writing, I've done scientific writing, I've edited a great deal of writing. And, you know, when you edit work, you learn a lot. And I think that that has really helped me as an author because not only is it the writing, but it's also um, just being interested in so many things. You know, I've written this one book, but I actually have ideas for all kinds of things. I would like to write in different genres and try new, you know, try new topics. And so it's fun. It's just fun.
I love talking to someone who you can feel the passion when they're talking. It's not so much the words that are coming out of your mouth, but I'm listening to you and I'm watching your face. And the more you talk about the writing, the process, and the things that you've done, you can see the passion. And I absolutely love that. Allow me to reset here. If you're just joining us, this is Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and our guest today is Allie Dalsimer. Allie is an award-winning author, life coach, and a certified facilitator. So, Allie, on this show, you've had so much success, and congratulations on all your success. So, on this show, though, we like to clap and celebrate all the success, but we also want to talk about the journey, and no journey is perfect. So, we know that every journey has some challenges. Is there a significant challenge that you can share with us that you faced on your journey and share with us how you were able to overcome it?
I think one of the most, well, I'm going to answer that in two ways. From a professional standpoint, the most significant hurdle that I've had is coming up the learning curve. It's like drinking from a fire hose, trying to become a published author, especially when you choose my route, which is a self-published author. You have to learn so much. There's so much to learn about marketing and developing websites and social media and the ins and outs of what to do. And who knew that there were three types of editors who needed to look at your work before you could send it on. And you know, and just that learning curve and really not understanding how little I knew or understood before I began was the biggest professional hurdle. On a personal front, and I won't go into too many specifics, and I talk about this in my book, interestingly enough, but I think the biggest hurdle has been the lack of support from people I thought would be supportive. Now that has been balanced, we discussed yin and yang, by receiving support from people I never expected to receive it from. But it's very challenging emotionally and psychologically to care very much about one or more people and share with them something so personal and so sensitive. And it's not that they necessarily beat you down for it, but they're not, they're not as supportive as as you would like.
It's interesting. That answer you just gave to that question, you would be amazed to how often we hear that. And myself, I had to be okay with those people who I've loved not cheering or not running out to buy my newest product right away. So it is a process. So thank you for sharing that. When you need encouragement or reflection, or you just need a moment just for you, what are some of the things that you do? Do you have particular practices? Do you read something? What is it that you do to recharge and refocus yourself?
The biggest thing I do is I listen to an audiobook and go for a walk. That's what I do, except when the weather's cold, and then I put an audiobook on and try to keep busy in the house. But honestly, the thing that inspires me the most and keeps me grounded as a person is is talking with my kids. My two children. I'm so blessed that I have two truly kind, generous, talented, brilliant, amazing children. My children are not perfect, but they are perfect for me. And I think they're fabulous. And they support me and prop me up and lift me and lift my spirits on a daily basis.
Oh, wow, that's so wonderful. I love that. Love that. Okay, Alice. So we have some people listening to your story right now that they're in that moment where they feel stuck or maybe just unsure about where to begin their journey. Talk to them about with some words of advice or encouragement that you can share with them today.
Absolutely. I think the first and most important thing is to decide, is it really your dream? Is it really your journey? Because if you're thinking about it but not starting and you're hesitating and you're wondering, why? I mean, who are you hurting if you're not doing it, right? Like, ask yourself, if you do nothing and keep doing what you're doing for the next 10 years, where will you be? Well, you'll be right where you are. If you take a chance and make a change and you pursue your dream, where might you be? You might fail, in which case you'll have given it a try and you'll have no regrets. Or you might succeed and be, if not where you want to be, you might be closer to where you want to be. So I would say, and I say this in the book, Lao Tzu said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with deciding to choose to take that step. Is that a step you want to take? And if you decide it's something you want, you'll find a way. You spoke with Stacey Thomas about her journey as an author, and I wrote this down. And she said, when it's in you, you'll figure out a way to do it. And I think that that is exactly right. Regardless of what your journey is, if it's in you, you'll find a way to get there. And if you're having trouble and you're struggling, you're not getting there, or maybe you're trying to pursue something and you keep losing interest, or maybe you feel like you're failing, is it really your dream? Is that your dream? Is it your dream to work in an office, or is it your dream to be a business owner and an amazing entrepreneur, right?
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. I love that. But thank you for that. That encouraged me, and it's going to encourage anybody who was listening. So, Allie, as you look ahead to the future, what's next? Are there any projects, any initiatives, any new books that you are excited to tell us about today?
I've just finished my first children's book. It's called Jack and Ginger, An Unexpected Journey. I've been working on and off for about a year. I'm going to try to find an agent because self-publishing is hard, especially for a children's book with a lot of pictures and stuff. But wish me luck on that because I think it's a pretty good book. I also have compiled inputs for a follow-on book to Fabulous, and I've also got some notes for. I'm considering writing a book in an entirely new genre, and I'm developing some ideas and thoughts on that, but it's very early on that. I mean, I do have Fabulous is out in both English and Spanish in both print and audio versions, so that's been really keeping me busy recently. So, but I feel that's done now. The English audio book I submitted, so it should be available in a couple weeks. But time for something new. Next projects. I'm excited for them. Really
Oh, I'm
hoping the
excited.
children's book works out. Yeah. I have to
Oh,
shift my reading though. I've
congratulations
been
on
reading
that.
grown-up books. I have to shift now and start reading kids' books.
Wow. Congratulations on that. And we're excited for you and looking forward to that new book coming out and everything else that you're working on. Lastly, how can our audience stay connected with you and continue following your inspiring journey?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you can follow me most easily I have two websites, alliedalsimer.us, which is kind of a link tree. You can get to things easily. And my full website is alliedalsimer.com. And I think if you want to keep up, sign up for my newsletter. You'll get this free brochure that'll help start you on your journey so you can maximize your own potential. Just 3 easy steps you can take today and every day to really make that happen. You can find links to all my social medias, to my YouTube shorts. And also, as I said, there's a contact me, and I'm a team of me, so everything comes to me. So if you want to reach out, I would love to hear from you.
Thank you again, Ellie, for sharing your journey with us. We are all inspired and excited to just, is it my dream? And then go for it. Thank you again for being here today. And
Thank
thank
you
you to
so
our
much for
audience for
having me.
joining us for Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, saying all your dreams are possible. Believe in yourself, work hard, and don't quit. Until next time, thank you for choosing Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. You go have an amazing day.